Hi, I'm making this video because Morsels is my favorite game to come out in 2025, and on Steam at least, it doesn't have the review score I think it deserves, or many in general, leading me to think it didn't sell very well, and that just makes me incredibly upset. I hope by making this video, I'll put at least a few people onto trying this game. I'll start with the art style because it's probably the most notable part of the game. Not that the gameplay isn't amazing too. The art was done by Toby Dixon, who worked on Nidhogg 2 and Atomic Crops. Their art can be a bit divisive, as I recently found out by finding a Nidhogg 2 Reddit thread where people said the first Nidhogg looked way better, which looks like this mind you, and the new one was ugly. Not to say that the first one didn't look good, but I think the whole point was to go from super minimal to super extra, which I really appreciated, and in this video I'll try to show you why I think so, because Morsel's art style evolves on what Toby Dixon did in Nidhogg 2 a lot. The art is so colorful and detailed, and these animations make me feel things. My brain genuinely can't comprehend how much work must have gone into some of these, like the bone worms and the bone snakes and nearly all the characters you meet between levels. I could list off all the art I loved, but I'd literally spoil the whole game, so I'll move on. The soundtrack, which I've been playing since the beginning of this video, fits the vibe perfectly. It's very big at 40 individual tracks that all sound unique from each other, and hearing it alongside the million different sound effects going off all at once, with all the different enemies and level hazards keeping you on your toes, makes for one of the most overwhelming presentations in all of gaming, and I love the pieces. Also, each different morsel has its own unique sound effects, with Pebzul and Fleecil being my favorites, so I'll play those right now. The game isn't super long depending on how you play, but there's so much detail crammed into each run, like with the optional content, or this frog that comes out of the water to throw a beach ball filled with trash and a singular piece of cheese, which of course will aid you greatly on your run. The gameplay loop is really varied, with you constantly switching between morsels who play differently and have their own use tackling the different challenges thrown your way. Like using the boulder on this one level that makes you want to peel my skin off, with the pink little stars all over the place that you have to avoid, or the fly on the sky level, since it can fly over the gaps between platforms, and so there are probably a lot of uses I've not found yet, or maybe some just suck. I don't know. I mean, some do suck, I think, which I'll go through at the second section of this video, where I respond to criticisms I found in other reviews, and at the end of the video I'll rank them with memes, I guess. Overall, there's really good variety in the different morsels and what they can do, and you're constantly replacing them and making moment-to-moment decisions, keeping the run interesting. Although I hate having to choose and not being able to skip a picked up card, because if you have a good roster but are hoping for a specific morsel, you have to risk it, and if you get a bad morsel, then that's just unlucky. You're gonna have to replace it with one of the good ones you have in your roster. Each run consists of 4 main areas and 4 levels in them. Between each level you're met with a different character who can give you stuff, take your stuff, or let you play a minigame to earn stuff, which are the coolest in my opinion because they add a whole new art style and just add more variety to the game mechanics. Even if the minigames aren't very in depth, there's an achievement for the high score, so I get excited every time I get to try again. And on this run I nearly got it, and well, yeah. In the levels you can find challenge rooms that also add minigames, or just random stuff, which are cool since they add more variation and things to find, one of them being close to my favorite discovery in the game. Speaking of, there are so many things to find, from new characters to whole new areas and even bosses. There's a ticket you can take to the My Neighbor Totoro cat bus, but pig now, to another minigame which is basically Crossroad but on acid, though I guess you can play the full games on acid for that matter. And if you look out, you can find the entrance to another secret area in that crossroads section. There are a lot of different enemies for the different areas that look cool and work differently, like this floating gnome that makes shapes out of red balls and shoots them your way, making this funny noise when you hit them. These enemies that charge you and can only be damaged from the back, bunnies that will float before jumping on you, and much more. Before I start discussing the criticisms I've seen in other reviews, I just have to bring up the sound effects again. These sound effects are absolutely insane. There are so many, like, I can't even count it. There are so many sound effects, they all sound fantastic. Hell, I spent like 10 minutes, I think, listening to like the different, not even different, I listened to like the same sound effects from like one of the morsels for 10 minutes. And that's probably in part because I'm insane, but still, like, I got enjoyment out of that, and yeah. Now I'll talk about some of the complaints I saw in Steam reviews, because like I said in the beginning, this game has worse reviews than I'd expect. Starting with morsels dying when they hit level 3, I get it does sound a bit strange that your reward for leveling your morsel up to level 3 kills it, or well, retires it for the run, but it's encouraged to keep switching between your morsels, so if there's one you really like in the beginning, it's not hard to carry to the final boss, as long as you're switching between your deck of morsels. When you do manage to get it to level 3 and retire it, you get the morsel as a passive ally that will help you with your current run. So personally, I didn't find it a big issue and liked the mechanic because it made me engage more with the different morsels instead of using one mega morsel to clear everything. That one wasn't very common, but I still thought it was worth mentioning, though this next one was. Unclear items. This criticism I do somewhat understand because the game can be a little vague about what things do, but not to the extent that it ruins the game. I mean to say that I don't think a game being vague and obtuse is a bad thing depending on how it's implemented. Because like in Dark Souls, it helps with the world building, and it sells a unique feeling that this world does not revolve around you, adding to the immersion and discovering a new world. Items like the bric-a-bracs have short explanations for what they do, which you can check in a separate menu on a run, though I will concede that you don't know what they do until you get them unless you remember from other runs. So I think the game would benefit from adding another entry in the journal that logs every bric-a-brac you find. Quick edit, you do most of the time see what they do before you get them. It's only in the store where you get a choice to buy 4 of them, and you don't see what they do, but for the rest you always see what they do when you pick them up, and it's pretty much always beneficial to pick them up because you can just find one in the world. Most of the perks speak for themselves, like critical, dashing, special, speedy, but then you have pitiful and tofu, and if I'd ask you what they do, you probably would have no idea. Now, in a guide I read that pitiful makes enemies less likely to attack you, or less aggressive, and tofu just turns enemies into tofu blocks, or at least sometimes it turns them into tofu blocks, which I don't really know what the purpose of that is, how that would help, but yeah, it's kind of weird. So again, I do understand this criticism, but I think it is way overblown, because I've seen Steam reviews that completely say the game is unplayable because they don't understand what the items do, when, like I said, most of the items are pretty easy to understand, and the rest are just not that big a deal. Just in case, I'll link a Reddit guide in the description. Now I'll add the 3 complaints I saw together, since they all contradict each other. Game too hard, game too easy, and bad rewards. To me, the fact that it can be really hard or really easy depending on the rewards you get already says that the rewards are really good if they can so drastically change the way you experience a run. You can absolutely break the game with the right combinations. Some might see it as poor balance, but I personally love discovering things that completely change the run. That said, there is one bric-a-brac that is just too overpowered. There's one that turns your cheese into your health bar while draining it over time. If you move quickly, it becomes easy since the damage you take is 1 cheese, and by the time you get it, you can have 500 cheese, so it kind of feels like a pseudo god mode. I'd either increase the drain rate or just rework it slightly. The next point I saw brought up a lot is balance. I fully get this one because there just are some morsels that are completely overpowered and fantastic, and then others that just completely suck. Like this one called Zigzul, it's damaged by its own attacks. How it works is, while moving around, it leaves a trail of smoke bomb things behind it, and it can walk into that trail. And with how frantic the game is, now what you're moving, it'll happen a lot that you're just gonna walk into that. And that just sucks. There's also one called Ugzul, which his only attack is to kick a ball across the room and then zip towards it with its special. But that's its main attack. And his main attack is just a special that it needs to recharge. And in this game you're kind of constantly attacking and doing stuff, so that just doesn't really work. Especially with the just alright damage it does. There's another one that literally shoots bombs. It does twice the damage, and it can shoot 1 bomb every half second, so, you know. Alright, the next one I don't have much to say about, and it's the fact that you can only shoot in 8 directions, which threw me for a loop at first as well. but after playing the game for a while, I just got used to it, and positioning just became part of the gameplay for me. But it is something to take into consideration. Next one is Too Little Content. Now this one was actually crazy, because this game is packed with unique areas, enemies, puzzle rooms, minigames, characters to meet between rooms, and bosses. I counted. There are 11 bosses, including secret ones, and roughly 30 enemies, not even counting different variations and level hazards, that blur the line between it and an enemy. Plus, you can fight every morsel as a mini-boss, although the fights are somewhat underwhelming and more of a speed bump in getting a new morsel, that's still another fight and another enemy. On top of that, the game is only 15 smackaroos, and often goes on sale for like 11 Gagungians, so like, you know, complaining about too little content in the game that's only 15 dollary dingles, that's crazy to me. The last point I'll discuss is performance. In a decent amount of reviews on Steam, people mentioned bugs like achievements not working or the performance being bad on Steam Deck, like stuttering between area transitions, which I experienced too on a high-end PC, but the developer has issued 4 updates since launch 4 months ago, even adding a new morsel, and as of the last one, my stuttering between areas has gone away, so I feel confident in recommending the game in its current state. So yeah, despite its flaws, I generally think this game deserves way more attention than it's gotten. And I truly hope that with this video, I'll get at least a few people to try it. Hell, if even like, I don't know, like 5 people see my video and decide to get the game, I'd be happy. Okay, so I was gonna finish the video with my own idea for a morsel, and it was gonna be very funny because I was gonna use this like hamster with a bow on it as the idea for what it would look like. But I had a bit of trouble thinking of a power it would have, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be like what do you call it? Kirby. Yes, Kirby. It was gonna work like Kirby, and you're gonna like be able to eat enemies and spit them out at other enemies. But then I realized that's kind of already what the frog morsel does in the game, only it doesn't spit them back out, and I thought that'd be a bit redundant. So yeah. Also, I didn't want to edit the meme ranking, so I just have like a tier list image here. This is my opinion on the morsels. Zigzal stinks. Krotzel is like pretty well. No, Krotzel was alright. This is getting too long. Alright, bye.